Oh hey there, welcome back to my channel. We are about 2 weeks away from the first of 3 albums coming out by King Gizzard in the month of October 2022. Like every other King Gizzard fan out there, I am very excited. However, with 3 albums coming, it's easy to forget the last album that came out by King Gizzard, Omnium Gatherum. It has now been 5 months since it came out, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. Because when the album first came out, there was a lot of new album hype with me. I made a video talking about my thoughts, and honestly, I kind of just said I like the entire album. But now I've had the opportunity to listen to the album many times, and I do have some different thoughts about it since when I first listened to it. Some of the songs I still really love, and some of them, honestly, they've kind of fallen out of my rotation. But I will be getting into that in just a moment. I wanted to start off by saying thank you, everyone, for subscribing, as I just broke 1,000 subs. I started this YouTube channel about a year ago, just wanting to talk about my thoughts regarding King Gizzard and other bands that I like. And honestly, I know it's cliche for YouTubers to say, but I really never thought it would get to this point. The amount of support I get on these videos, it just makes my day when I read the comments, and just seeing how this channel has grown, it's been such a great boost to my mental health this last year. I have alluded to it on this channel before, but I do suffer from motivation issues sometimes. It can just be really hard to get out of bed some days, and making videos, it's not always easy. I've taken prolonged breaks throughout the last year from this channel just to, focus on myself, focus on like my mental health and school and work. And I've had the worst anxiety that I would come back and maybe a lot of people would lose interest in my channel. However, you guys have all been so great to me, and I promise I will keep making you the King Gizzard content that you guys crave. So once again, thank you all so much for subscribing, and the comments and the likes, it's meant a lot to me. Anyways, though, getting through all of the sappy stuff, let's get into Omnium Gatherum. We actually would end up finding out that this album was the 3rd in the trilogy of random genre-bending albums. We saw the same thing with Oddments and Gumboot Soup, both of which were kind of the B-sides. You got some songs that could fit on other albums, they didn't quite make it, so they get their spot on these albums. Oddments is kind of a controversial album, not everyone loves it, I personally really like it, but I do understand that it's not perfect. There's a lot of filler on it, and not every song is gonna knock your socks off. Gumboot Soup is definitely better in terms of quality, as there really is no filler on that album. I think it's all fantastic. However, I could also say how some of the songs, while not bad, are a little bit forgettable. So how would Omnium Gatherum compare? Well, honestly, I don't think any of these songs are quote-unquote B-sides. I think they're all just really carefully crafted songs that kind of just found its way onto Omnium Gatherum. And with that said, let's get into the songs. The very first single for Omnium Gatherum was The Dripping Tap. When I saw that there was an 18-minute long single, I was just hyped. I immediately started playing it, and honestly, on my very first listen, I was just blown away. Not every King Gizzard song that gets put out I'm gonna love on an initial listen, but this one was different. This one was just so good. I can definitively say that this is the best song on the album, and I can honestly say it is one of King Gizzard's best songs ever. I think it's gonna go in the King Gizzard Hall of Fame of best songs that they've ever done. But I could rave on about The Dripping Tap forever. It's great. It's one of their best songs. They played it when I saw them in Cleveland. It was just a great outro to that concert. And what can I say other than it is one of my favorite songs by the band. And honestly, I can say that this song has only aged better since the album came out, which is kind of the opposite of a few other of these songs that I'll get into, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Speaking of favorite songs off the album, my favorite 3-song run in the album, and honestly one of my favorite 3-song runs by the band, is Evilest Man, Garden Goblin, and Blame It on the Weather. Starting off with Evilest Man, it's got some parts that sound like it was ripped right off Fishing for Fishies before going into like these really hardcore rock segments. This song initially didn't grab me the way it did the other 2 songs in this 3-song run. However, that outro song with the wah 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 that kind of reminds you of the song Wah Wah and Invisible Face and All Is Known. All Is Known is probably the best comparison I could have with this song, especially with its outro. This song is a beautiful middle finger to, misinformation and Fox News and conservatives in general. It's just an all-around great song. I know earlier I said Dripping Tap was the best song from this album. However, the next song in the 3-song run, The Garden Goblin, is my favorite. I'm always going to be a sucker for Cookie's songs, as I feel like they're just so unique and so beautifully crafted. So I already knew this song was going to be great. However, even on my first listen, I just thought this song was amazing. I love the instrumentation. I love the, kind of sounds like you're outside with the birds chirping. And I just love the vibe that this song has all throughout. And I also made a music video, which you can check right here. And then rounding off the 3-song run is Blame It on the Weather. This is definitely one of King Gizzard's catchiest songs. I just love the go on, blame it on the weather, chorus line all throughout the song. It's just so good. And the beautiful thing with this song and Garden Goblin is they're pretty short, so it doesn't really outstay its welcome with the vibe, and it's very easy to just keep playing the song over and over and over. And now getting into the more controversial part of the video, let's get into the songs that haven't really aged as great with me. First off, if you made me choose a least favorite song on the album, I'm probably going to tell you it is Sadie Sorceress. I have no problem with King Gizzard incorporating rap, and I'm not saying I don't like this song, it's just if you had to make me pick a least favorite, it's probably it. Another song that hasn't really aged as great with me is The Funeral, which I think the song is probably a lot of people's least favorite songs, as it just really doesn't have much to it, and I think the song would have been better if it was just included as the outro for Candles, and it wasn't just two songs broken up. Predator X is another song that even though I really like it, I haven't listened to it much, since the album dropped. I mean, I listen to it every once in a while, but it's not really one that I go to, out of nowhere. And this is going to be a little bit more of a controversial one, but one of my least played songs from this album is Magenta Mountain. And I know everyone loves Magenta Mountain, and I think it's a really great song, especially when I heard it live in Columbus. However, I don't know what's up with this song. I loved it when it was a single, and then when the album dropped, I guess I kind of just listened to it a little bit less. And then honestly, I can say another song I have not listened to a bunch since the album dropped is Gaia. I don't know what it is about this song. I love when King Gizzard is heavy, but I don't know, maybe I listened to the live version of this song before the album came out too many times. I don't know, I just haven't, listened to it as much as I have other songs in this album. Straying away from the more negative aspects, let's get back into the songs that are honestly kind of surprises for me. First up, Ambergris. When this album first came out, I honestly thought Ambergris was one of my least favorite songs in the album. However, listening to it more and more, I can say it's one of the best. Joey's vocals in this song are just, they're always great, but it's fantastic. And definitely one of the songs on this album that gets stuck in my head the most. Presumptuous was also another song that, when the album came out, I wasn't really crazy of, but now it is one of my favorites. Just listening to this song walking down the street is such a vibe, and I love Ambrose's vocals. I love the kind of jazzy, middle part where, they stop singing, it's more of an instrumental. It's just great all around. And I know I talked bad about Sadie Sorceress earlier, but honestly, I love the Grim Reaper. I don't know if it's because this song maybe just has a little bit more depth to it than Sadie Sorceress. I like the more dreary vibes of the song, and I think the live version, especially live at Bonnaroo, is so damn good. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you prefer Grim Reaper or Sadie Sorceress? As I feel like they're pretty similar, but also very different. The remaining songs that I haven't talked about, honestly, I liked them when the album came out, and I still pretty much like them the same. Persistence is just super damn catchy. I feel like everyone loves this song. Immediately when the album came out, it was one of my favorites. It's definitely one of the more replayable tracks. Red Smoke and Candles, two songs near the end of the album. I think Red Smoke is very Murlocs-esque, which, by the way, I will be talking about the new Murlocs album in the next coming weeks. And Candles is one of the most replayable, catchy tracks from this album. I see a lot of people say it's their favorite, and I can't disagree. But I feel like this song kind of reminds me of Ya Love from Butterfly 3000. It's really good and great to the ear, and I like listening to it, but I feel like when the song's over, I kind of don't really remember it much. Definitely not bad by any means. Definitely a great song, but I don't know. It's definitely not in my main rotation. And I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, that's all the songs in Omnium Gatherum. If I forgot one, I'm really sorry if you're a diehard fan of one that I forgot, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. I did forget one. I forgot to mention Kepler 22b, which all I would have said was, as a single, I thought it was just okay. I wasn't in love with it. However, especially recently, it has become one of my favorites in the album, and especially listening to it after the new single Ice 5 is really awesome. I highly recommend you do that. But anyways, back to myself. But overall, I think with the amount of quality that is here, it's one of my favorite albums by King Gizzard. And I think there might be a little bit of album fatigue with this album, with the new ones coming out. A lot of people are kind of like, all right, I'm kind of over Omnium Gatherum, but I really hope this one gets remembered well in time. Just with the amount of bangers and all-time classics that are on this album, I think it's going to be remembered as one of their best. But I will agree with the people that kind of think it doesn't really work as an overall album, it's just constantly changing genres and it doesn't really feel whole. Although I will say, I think the band does a really great job at meshing the genres together. The transitions are, for the most part, great. Off the top of my head, I don't think the transition between Predator X and Presumptuous is very good. It's a little bit sudden. But that's pretty much the only transition that I really don't think worked that well. I think other than that, the one from Evilest Man into Garden Goblin into Blame It on the Weather into Persistence into the Grim Reaper, it's just great. And usually I plan on just listening to Evilest Man and Garden Goblin, but because of how well this album flows, I'll find myself all the way near the end of the album whoa, when did that happen? But anyways, guys, I want to hear what you have to say about Omnium Gatherum. Is it one of your favorites by them? Has it kind of aged not as great? Or did you not really like it upon first release and now you really do like it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your opinions are on it. But yeah, as we move on to this next chapter of 2022, we got, Ice, Death, Planets, Mushrooms, Other Words coming out. I'm really excited for that album. Ice 5 has been one of my most played songs of the year already. It's just really groovy. I love listening to it when I'm walking outside. It flows so well. I don't even notice that 10 minutes have passed when it's over. And we also got Laminated Denim, the sequel to Made in Timeland, or prequel. I don't even really know. It's going to be really awesome. I know it. And then wrapping things up, we got Changes, which is an album that has been in the works since 2017. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait for October. But anyways, guys, let me know what you have to say about Omnium Gatherum in the comments, what you have to say about these newest albums coming, the new Murlocs album that just dropped. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And once again, thank you guys so much for subscribing and liking my videos. I can't stress how much that helps me out when you guys like my videos. It puts it in other people's algorithms and stuff, so it just gets my videos out there, and I really appreciate it. Hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in my next video.